Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, my travel continues. I'm actually live from the PGA Professional National Championship in New Mexico at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya. Plus, on the PGA Tour, we're talking about another winner for my picks. We're tuned into a cable update and some Seinfeld economy as well. This week's guest, we've got two really big ones. I can't hype these guests enough. Very excited. First up, we got Wells Adams. You know him as the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise, host of Best in Dough, and a whole lot more. And we also have Brittany Lincicome, LPGA legend, major champion, both on the podcast. It's a loaded show indeed. Plus, we're talking all things Vegas for my trip coming up this week when we always end with food. All of it's brought to you by our friends at the Live Take app. Mike, you've heard us, and you've heard us tease the live takes that we've done recent weeks. It's official to have Live Take as our partner for all things debate. Not only in the world of golf, but in the world of sports and the world of life. You'll see us on there weekly with our own live takes. The best part about live takes in the Live Take app is it's where sports debates are solved once and for all. There's challenges, there's voting, where you, the people, decide the winner of every debate. Not just your friends and not just that little circle and that little bubble of yours, but the people out there in the world. You can challenge us on the Live Take app. Check out our challenge this week, where we have a very interesting golf debate coming your way on how to get around in 18 holes. So again, it's the Live Take app with our friends at Live Take. Download the Live Take app today.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf and the Live Take app. I'm Michael, all the way on the East Coast in Georgia, and he's Alex, all the way in New Mexico at the Grand Hyatt Tamaya for the PGA Professionals Championship. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about what was going on south of the border at the Mexico Open at Vidanta. It was Jon Rahm versus the field, and the field won, Alex, and that means that you won because you had Tony Finau on your pick list, and he has notched himself a victory at 24 under par.
Yeah, 6 wins in his career for Tony Finau, and my 6th outright winner of 2023. So a little symmetry there for Finau getting it done. And yeah, that was the storyline all week, was Jon Rahm had Tiger Woods-like odds to win. And lo and behold, he was right there in the thick of things, but he could not get it done as the overwhelming favorite. I faded Rahm. I went with Finau and a few other guys like Brandon Wu and Eric Cole had great weeks. It was a fantastic picking week for me. I had it laid out for Tony Finau. He loves kind of feasting on events like this, Mike. I'm going to say this was maybe his most legit win of the 4 he's had in his last 18 starts. But I always notice that he seems to be feasting on these like less than stellar fields is when he has his best weeks. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's been the talk about him all along, is that he can't win loaded fields. And, you know, Jon Rahm was there. He was in the final group, or the final grouping, because there were 3 of them in these final groups, with Jon Rahm and Tony Finau playing together. Rahm just never seemed to be able to get it going. He had one great round in the third round of 61 to get himself into good position and get in that final grouping. But other than that, Rahm didn't show up the way we maybe expected him to.
Yeah, no, not quite. And it's sad because the guy, finished 20 under par, which is interesting. But the way he defended and won his championship here last year so authoritatively led you to believe he might be a little bit more clutch in the moment on Sunday. But yeah, Finau just absolutely kept pace and kept ahead of the pack that was chasing him the whole way on the weekend. So shout out Finau. Again, I'm saying it, he's won some funky field events, we'll call it. This was a funky field event, but he had a very legit challenger nipping at his heels. So shout out to Finau, the family man, for getting it done again.
That's right. So Tony Finau takes $1.386 million home.
Yeah, solid for a funky field event, right? Not too bad. Yeah,
and 500 FedEx points, and that's what really matters. So there you go. He's doing well now. Just a brief shout out to LIV Golf, because I feel like that's all they're allotted in today's world, is a brief shutout. In fact, Alex, if you could cut me off at some point because the time just ends, and go ahead and do reruns of
Big Bang Theory usually, or Modern Family maybe.
Whatever you think is big. Taylor Gooch wins back-to-back weeks over Sergio Garcia in a playoff. So back-to-back wins for Taylor Gooch.
And I think the story here is what you're going to hear in an upcoming Course of Life podcast episode to tease some content I got done here this week, because we got some interesting perspective from Taylor Gooch on his decision to go to LIV, the current state of LIV and PGA, some very interesting ideas he threw out. So that's going to become a topic of discussion in the weeks to come on the podcast. But Taylor Gooch, red hot, back to back. Hey, whatever the hell tour it is, impressive to see him play golf this well 2 weeks in a row. So shout out to Gooch for getting it done.
Let's also give a shout out to the LPGA. We are recording this week's episode early on a Sunday because of Alex's schedule and travel around being out in New Mexico. But past guests were all over the leaderboard in the LPGA.
They were, yeah.
Gemma Dryburg.
Just
doing great out there. So we'll see how those results pan out.
That's the podcast bump is what that is. We really just want to pat ourselves on the shoulder right here. You saw Gemma featured. I met her and interviewed her at the Chevron, second time on the show. Lo and behold, she's on a bunch of leaderboards. So if you're interested and you're in golf and you're trying to make it in the world of golf and you've got a great personality and want to be on the show, then you're going to have to hit me up because the podcast bump is a real thing out here.
Let's talk about what you've been doing out there this weekend, Alex, in New Mexico at the Hyatt Regency Tamaya. We were there last year. It was magnificent and beautiful. And the Twin Warriors and Santa Ana Golf Course there are hosting the PGA Professionals National Championship. Remind everyone what exactly this is, because I think a lot of people are going to go, the what?
Yep. So this is the PGA Professional National Championship, like you said, aka the Club Pro Championship. And what this is a little over 300 of the best club pros, PGA teaching instructors at your home courses, the courses you and I all know and love and play locally. They qualify sectionally based on where they are in the country for this national championship. And the coolest part about this is that, which gets very overlooked in the world of golf, Mike, is the top 20 finishers at this event all get invites to the PGA Championship to play in the field alongside the world's best in a major championship. That can't be understated enough, that there's no other tournament that presents that type of opportunity. So it's very cool to be here on site, profiling the players in the event. I interviewed the 2022 champ, Jesse Mueller, who will be on the show very soon, and got in touch with a lot of guys who played some good rounds to start their week, and we're wishing them the best of luck the rest of the week. For those listening to the podcast right now, the event ran Sunday to Wednesday, final round Wednesday on the Golf Channel to see who gets those top 20 spots and gets to go to Oak Hill in a few weeks. So it's been a great watch. And like Mike, Twin Warriors, what a venue. Easy on the eyes for any golf spectator as well, too.
Just a fantastic desert golf course in the truest sense of the word. Of course, in the shadow of the Sandy Mountain, which means watermelon. I think we were told that about 50 billion times, and it didn't get old, though. So I don't want to say I got tired of it, because I didn't. Because you just look up at the mountain, you go, yeah, this is pretty awesome.
It's one of the only places, Mike, where I'll actually get myself up for the sunrise, because it's that stinking beautiful. And that's saying something, especially when you're on vacation. But it was great to see the first tee times go off on Sunday, get the whole thing started and be part of the action, reconnect with our friend Derek Gutierrez, who's helping run the show here. But again, those guests will be upcoming. Check out the interviews on social. Again, Golf Channel Wednesday, but on Instagram at COL Podcast and Course of Life Alex. I did some really cool interviews with some players who are putting themselves in a position to potentially play in the PGA Championship.
Let's look ahead to this next week. It is the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hallow in Charlotte. $20 million purse on the line. Oof. And two-time champion Max Homa, defending champ. What do we think?
Yeah, you're going to have to tell me how loaded the field is looking, but I imagine it's pretty juicy with where things are sitting on the calendar. We're 2 weeks before the PGA Championship. I've half written the preview, but yeah, Homa's definitely going to be a guy to watch. He's in solid form. Guy's made $7-8 million this season on the PGA Tour already playing golf. And why will he not play well at a course he's already played well at in recent years? So he's probably on the short list, and I'm sure he's one of the top three favorites to win.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's also going to be Patrick Cantlay, who we know lost a playoff.
Well, he lost the playoff in 2022 at the Heritage, and he was deathly close to winning the Heritage again. So he's been knocking on the door as well, too. So he's a guy with enough form that he can contend as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. Always a fun week outside of Charlotte at Quail Hallow. Just one of those courses you're like, oh yeah, Quail Hallow. That's nice there.
And Quail Hallow, Mike, remember this is one of those courses that has arguably the nicest, most gaudy mansions, like right on the side of like the greens on the front nine and around the turn. So if nothing else, just do a little real estate watching, even if you're not interested in golf as well too.
Yep. I do just want to shout out, by the way, Slovakian and Olympic silver medalist Rory Sabatini in the field.
He did it. He got it. He just gets himself into fields. But I think he's got some sort of exemption for maybe like top 50 money or all time or something. Rory Sabatini's Mr. Snake it till you make it. Don't even ask any questions. Just know if he wants to get in the field, he can get in the field. I don't know how he does it.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's switch over to Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I was in my car over the weekend, and I'm one of those guys. I have NPR on a lot. I'm a New Englander. Wow. I'm not ashamed of it.
Nerd alert.
I'm a liberal from New England who went to private university, just like you, Alex. And and they had on was the show Planet Money.
Okay.
It's about money and the economy and lessons we can learn from things like that. And they were doing an episode about how Seinfeld has economic lessons embedded within it. And they had on different economists who were talking about how Seinfeld teaches, what it teaches us. This show about nothing teaches us things about the economy.
What examples did they cite?
So they brought up the Muffin Top episode.
Yes.
Which, for those of you who don't know, in this episode, Elaine shows that she likes to eat just the top of the muffin and not the bottom of the muffin. And someone at this book event that she's at decides to take that idea and make it into a store. But he only makes the muffin top and not the whole muffin. And Correct. She tells him, you can't do that. You have to pop the top off the muffin and toss the stump. And then it's, what do you do with the stumps? You try to give them to a homeless shelter, but then they're complaining because they just have the bottom of the muffin and they want to know where the rest of the muffin is. So they bring in the cleaner. They bring in Newman to clean it up. And of course, this is all about what do you do with waste in the economy.
I think I always thought about this too, because I love that episode. Shout out Top of the Muffin to you, by the way. Yes. I think the play would have been, which is like the very Dunkin' Donuts Munchin type of play, is you take all the stump, muffin, and you like ball them up into little balls and you sell them as like muffin munchkins and you try and get another product out of something you were about to throw away. I think that's like the last grasp desperation move. But nonetheless, that is a fascinating economic lesson within Seinfeld of all places. Yeah. Interesting.
It is about what you do. And I can say working in a bakery, there are things we do like with a cake and when you're icing a cake, you're cutting off the top of the cake so you make it flat. And this in particular, which was fantastic, they were making carrot cakes for Easter, cut off the top of the cake, froze it for a couple weeks, and then took it out and made little like cake and frosting cups and did like a layer of cake, a layer of frosting, a layer of cake, a layer of frosting, and sprinkle little nuts on top. And then you serve it. It's fantastic. I mean, what could be bad? So
bonus always end with food within Tuned In this week.
There you go. Just for you all out there.
My Tuned In is a cord cutting update, kind of. This has always been a topic of conversation on the podcast. Mike, a renowned cord cutter, me, a renowned cable lover in all aspects of life. I did a half of a cut of the cord. AT&T Uverse is essentially, twilighting their Uverse cable service. So they're basically telling you in so many ways, you're going to have to change things up in the next year or so. So I bit the bullet. I got a discounted rate on AT&T DirecTV Stream, which still has aspects and the box-like component of having cable, except it's all done through a stream in which I can log in. And I will say, so far, I am very efficient. I love the multi-device usage, streaming on my phone and my tablet, my computer. That's amazing. The live sports delay is there. It's a thing. So I really just got to stay off Twitter for an extra 30 seconds is the fact of the matter when I'm watching live sports. But overall, Mike, the half cut, a success so far.
All right. So we're going to push you to go all the way. You're going to save a boatload of cash when you do, because you're already subscribing to Netflix. You already got Prime. You already got probably a couple other streaming services going on there. So you can go all the way. And once you do, you won't look back.
Obviously, I think the one sitting out there that could be in my future is YouTube TV. That could be in my path, but time will tell. We'll play the AT&T DirecTV stream out and see how it goes for now.
All right. Let's get into this week's first guest. It's another double header here on Course of Life. And Alex, it's no secret that you are a humongous, maybe one of the biggest between the two of us at the very least, Bachelor super fan.
Oh, yeah.
You tweet during all the episodes. Every person, you've brought in numerous guests in the past.
I have.
Who are regulars on The Bachelor. And you've done it again.
I have. This is a big one, Mike. I can't understate how big of a guest this was, and he's a great guy to connect with out at the Invited Celebrity Classic that I went to in Dallas a week or two ago. The bartender on Bachelor in Paradise. Also a big-time golf guy as well, too, talking about Wells Adams. We touch on everything going on with his life, his shows, his golf game, the Bachelor golfing fraternity. Some really fun tea with Wells Adams coming your way.
We'll get to that conversation with Wells in just a moment. But first, let's talk about our longtime good friends at Desert Fox Golf.
Yes.
We talk about them all the time because of the phone caddy, that great device that keeps your phone safe and sound. And, we've been talking to you for a long time about how you can go out and buy yourself one and your friends one.
Which you still can.
But Desert Fox also is able to make customizable ones for your entire massive corporate golf outing or charity event that you may have going on that you want to give everyone a little swag. And it's great because they want to give you money.
What?
In return for buying their product.
They're just going to give you money?
Yes. They're literally if you buy over 100 phone caddies, which if you think about it, 18 holes, 4 guys a hole.
And this isn't even you that's buying it. It's your company that's running the event too.
That's right. They'll give you $100 off, just right off the top.
Love that. Just for the referral.
You can get whatever color you want. You can get your own logo plastered on it so that everyone can know where they got it from. And they'll have this awesome thing on their cart to hold their phone safe. And they'll have it time and time again. And they'll see your logo every time they go golfing. And they'll remember how great you are as a company. And it's all because Desert Fox wants to help you out. So this great referral program. Alex, tell them the details. What do they need to do to get this $100?
Real simple. Just hit us up on social at COL Podcast or at Course of Life Alex on Instagram, Course of Life 1 on Twitter, and just connect me. I'll connect you to the Desert Fox team. Let us know about your company and your event. And if there's more than 100 people there and you're buying for them, we will get the $100 referral your way. Easy way for you to make money if you work at a company with more than 100 people, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there do. So. Yep,
that's true indeed. So again, reach out to us on social media. He's Course of Life Alex or the main one COL podcast. And of course, check out desertfoxgolf.com for their phone caddy and everything else they do there.
All right, live Course of Life podcast here at the Invited Celebrity Classic outside Dallas, Texas. Here with America's favorite bartender. I feel like I've known him my entire life. Former Bachelor contestant.
Tom Sandoval. No, that's America's least favorite bartender.
That's right.
Sorry.
Also Best in Dough host as well, too. I don't want to sell you short. Wells Adams joining us. Wells, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I have a beer in my hand right now. So there's no cameras on us right now, but I have a beer in my hand, and I need it after what just transpired out there.
Yeah, I know. All right. So, tough morning tea time for you. We've all been there. I guess something may have happened the day before that affected your tee ball, or what went on yesterday evening with the rest of the Pro-Am here?
Yeah, Alex, I'm hungover. I got drunk last night. So here's the thing. When you play a bartender on TV, everyone thinks that they need to make you their best drink ever. And that
you have to try them all too?
Yeah, you have to try them all, and usually you have to drink them all. And guess what? I drank them all. So I'm a little hungover today, but I feel great. I hit the ball fine. The problem with Texas is it's very windy here. I'm not sure if anyone told you guys about that. There were times when it was like probably 30-mile-an-hour winds in. And yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, Dallas and Houston, crazy weather. I'm in Austin where nothing goes wrong ever. So we always complain about how crazy the weather gets here, but you got the full Dallas experience, indeed.
I was just in Austin, by the way.
Oh, nice. What for?
I was there for a wedding, then I was there for South by Southwest before that. That is the coolest town in the world. There's a sushi place there called...
There's so many good ones.
Oka something or something is amazing. Anyway, sorry, cut that.
Yeah,
But
Omasaki.
Omasaki, yes. So freaking good. I love Austin. Sorry. Dallas is great too.
Amazing foodie town indeed. Let's talk about a recent golf travel that you mentioned on your favorite thing. We got to get to your trip to Augusta and the Masters. I had the pleasure of going for the first time last year.
Yeah.
I know you had a very similar experience this year. What was the most euphoric part about the experience? I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have the same experience. When I came down 11 into 12 into Amen Corner, I did tear up. And yeah. I mean, I'm not a bitch, but like it made me very, very emotional. As a Kermit that I have these like visions of like watching with my dad, you know, as a child and getting to be there and seeing it was just really emotional. And it's as beautiful as you think it is. And it's, everyone says that it's much more up and down and undulating than TV shows.
It's shocking.
But that's true. The thing that blew me away the most for people that haven't been to Augusta, the fairways are so wide. You can spray the ball all over the yard. It's the greens that screw you there. And they are, that's the thing. They always talk about how the undulation of Augusta, you can't see on TV. You can't see the undulation of the greens on TV because they're all turtlebacks. Like, it's insane. If you're not on the right level, you always hear, like, if you're not on the right level, you're screwed. No, you're on a different hole if you're not on the right level.
Yeah.
So that was something that just blew my mind. I was like, oh, my snap hook would be still in the fairway. It's just getting on the green in the right spot.
And those surfaces are so tough, they don't even need deep rough on the course either. So
yeah.
There's none of that.
That's the thing. There is no rough. Like, it's shorter rough than we have at, like, my home club.
Yeah.
And still that course, just terrorizes the best players in the world. But yeah, it was so awesome. I got to give a shout out to my wife, that was my first Christmas gift.
Yeah, how did she put together the package? I mean, listen,
well, she's very rich.
Yeah, she's got some connections with Augusta National.
Yeah. No, I think she pulled as many strings as she possibly could, and she said, "Listen, it's all downhill from here. Like, it's never going to get as good." But I'll tell you the funny story about that. So we always do Christmas at my house, and my brother, who's my caddy, who's here, he's an absolutely wonderful man. He gave my Christmas gift to me first, which was around at Cypress Point. Okay. And I lost my mind. And anyone who knows golf knows, like, there's 2 Alistair McKenzie courses you want to play, and it's Cypress and it's Augusta. And so I was like, this is the greatest gift ever. And my brother was like, I'm going to get the glory for about 3 minutes. Because then my wife handed me a box full of, like, Augusta stuff. And
wow, she just went right over the top there, didn't she?
She did. But they were both great gifts. This was a banner year at the Adams household.
Very cool. I got to mention fellow member of Bachelor Nation, Ben Higgins, is out here too. I'm curious what the fraternity of golfers is like in Bachelor Nation. I'm sure you played with some. I've seen Ben's game. Looks like he plays a lot. He gets out.
Ben's pretty good.
But what's it like in the Bachelor Nation scene? How are the power rankings and who gets out there the most?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not a sandbagger like Ben is.
Okay.
I play to about a 4. Ben says he plays to a 7, but that's not true. He is probably a 4 or 5. Jason Tardick's pretty good.
Okay, nice.
I'll tell you who's very good and also a sandbagger. Here's your headline. Chris Harrison plays to like a 6. He beats us every single time we go and play. But we had a member guest last month at my course in LA, and I brought Ben out. He had never seen my home course. He came out, beat me, and yeah, he's pretty good. But I'm going to beat him this week. That's all that really matters.
Okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts about this format? I've seen you play with the ladies earlier this year. I was actually just with the ladies in the Woodlands yesterday for their major championship, the Chevron. And obviously the Pro-Am format, mixing celebrities and athletes like yourself with the world's best. What do you enjoy about seeing the best up close? And what are you trying to take away, at least, if anything?
Yeah, you learn a lot. I mean, I played 3-4 times a week when I'm not working, and you run into bad habits. And then when you watch these pros, and like, I think the thing that us amateurs don't do very well is like have a routine and like constantly stick to it.
Right.
and these guys do it so very well. Also, we all like sit on the driving range and bang drivers. And I don't think that's the play. I think it's chipping and putting is the thing that you see that they're so much better than us at. Like, they can spray it all over the yard too, but they're able to get up and down for par so much easier than we are. It's one of those things you just got to learn. It's so funny because every time you come to the course,
right,
you go straight to the driving range. You should go straight to the putting green and work on that.
I know. There's the allure of hitting the bomb, but you know, if you just get up and down right in someone's face, it probably hurts just as much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So. Love it. We're here with Wells Adams, Bachelor in Paradise bartender. You know him from the Bachelorette as well too. Let's talk a little bit about what your background is, because we have a similar one that it came from radio. I'm curious about your radio background and how that kind of helped you get to where you are today. Obviously, kind of being able to talk in front of different audiences definitely helped you get the hosting gigs that you have now. But tell me about radio and the effect it had on your career.
Yeah, I mean, I had my first radio show when I was 16 years old in high school, and then I kind of caught the bug for it. I went to college to get my broadcast journalism degree. I had a radio show and actually a TV show as well, like in college. And I worked in Nashville for 13 years as a radio host, and I did every day part, every format. And then I did this stupid thing where I used to go on auditions and I would purposely be bad at them. So it was radio fodder. Like, so my morning show, I'd be like, I didn't get the Meow Mix commercial.
And this was like the bid at 7:45 in the morning, right after the traffic. Yeah.
And I would go over like lines with like my intern or my co-host, and I would be terrible, and then I wouldn't get the part, and I would be so crestfallen the next day. And I went and did this for the Bachelorette, and guess what? I was the right amount of douchey for that show, and then I went on it, and then after that, I think they realized that I was good at talking. And I was also good at making an old fashioned, so they made me the bartender, and the rest is history.
Is it true that you went to bartending school to get better at your skills, or you kind of relearned the craft as the seasons have gone on?
Yeah, so like, there's no money in radio. I'm so sorry for you.
Oh no.
Yeah, just so
my dreams, they're shattered.
So I used to moonlight as a waiter and a bartender in Nashville, and then also this is when I was doing like nights and overnights on the radio. So I'd had two jobs, and so I was a bartender and I was a waiter. Was I good? No. Am I good now? Absolutely not. But when I got this bartending gig, I went the first year and just was like, I'm just going to have to make margaritas. It'll be fine. And then I realized that people had a lot more requests of me and my skills. So I went to bartending school. I didn't graduate because I had to leave early to go film. So I still have yet to graduate from bartending school, but I still think I have my ABC card from my Nashville days. So I still can legally make you a drink.
Nice. Interesting. And so obviously the drink that we see on Bachelor in Paradise all the time is the pretty much world famous Wells spicy margarita.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific that's going on in that spicy margarita that makes it different from the other, or is this $1 million secret that we're holding on to here?
No, it's a Serrano pepper and
Serrano. Okay.
And yeah, it's just not a jalapeno. And it's always funny because it's always a girl who thinks she's a baddie. And she's like, I like a spicy margarita. I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you, this is going to give you explosive diarrhea. And she's like, I can handle it. And then I do it. And then she's like, I can't. Every single year I get a girl that wants a spicy and she can't handle it. And it's so funny.
There's always those cut scenes where everyone's just like, another spicy marg? Okay.
Yeah. No, I know.
It makes me think they're down on these, but you can't handle too many, right?
No, you can't even finish one. Because here's the thing. I don't want to be muddling Serrano peppers all day. So I usually just try to make it too spicy for them right off the bat so they never ask for it again.
Great stuff. All right, Wells Adams here joining us. Wells Adams on Instagram to follow along his bachelor and golf journeys. Let's get to some fun sides of life for you. One thing that you post that I appreciate so much is just you and your wife's episode commentary. Just following episodes. It's the simplest, most subtle thing you probably do. You're just sitting on the couch. What inspires those conversations that I have with my wife and everyone else at home has when they're in their couch there?
Well, it's funny because I'm a part of this weird Bachelor Nation thing, but I also feel the same way everyone else feels when you watch it. So yeah, it's just it's so funny too because I'm a little too close to it now. My wife will be like, I hate that person. I can't stand them. And I'm like, you can't say that because you're going to meet them.
I feel like I'm getting too close to right now.
We're going to go to we're going to go to some party and you're going to like meet them. You can't. And what's amazing about this whole thing is that now she's the host of Love Island. And so then I watch Love Island, which is, by the way, a knockoff of my show. And I'll be like, I hate so-and-so. And she'll be like, no, they're actually pretty nice. And you're going to meet them, so you have to be nice. And I'm like, see? This is what I'm talking about. So it's come full circle for us.
Very neat. Another place where we see you as well, your favorite thing podcast. For people who don't know, you do an awesome podcast with a Cyrus sister.
Yeah.
I mean, how freaking cool is that? Just dishing on pop culture stories with someone who's also kind of that connected to everything going on as well.
Yeah. I mean, going back to your question about radio. So originally I was doing, there was a point in which I worked for iHeart and I did 3 different formats. I did alt in the morning, a morning show. I did afternoon drive on classic rock, and I did nights on CHR pop. And so I had known Brandy Cyrus forever. And my thought was, if I get a Cyrus to do a show with me, we'll get it syndicated and we'll make so much money. Not only did iHeart not pick up the show, they didn't like the podcast that we created and they passed on it. And then we were like, well, we're just going to do this ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And this is 7 years later, and I made more money on this podcast than I ever did for my heart. So there you go.
Very cool. No, I love hearing you guys dish, and with takes on everything going on in the world of Hollywood, spinning circle every day, and you guys cover everything really well. Let's do some food questions. We always end with food on every Course of Life interview.
I host a show about pizza.
Exactly. So let's get to Best in Dough and what you've learned from that experience hosting this pizza making competition. It's fascinating to see the details that go into making pizza, which seems like such a simple thing on the surface at times.
And it's not. And also, if you thought that I had a great gig making drinks for a bunch of beautiful idiots in Mexico every year, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Pizza and cocktails are your gigs. I just put this together in my head.
I get to eat pizza every day. That's a pretty amazing gig. The thing that you don't realize about pizza, dough is huge. Par baking is a big deal that I didn't know about.
My co-host is a baker himself, so
is he? Okay.
He's to teach me the ropes of bread making and everything.
Yeah. Like par baking is huge. Yeah. Water is really important, and we did one episode with some nonas, like grandmas from Italy.
And like the famous, like the water here, the water's coming from here, so it makes.
And it's
pizza.
So funny because my wife is from Manhattan, and so she's like, the water is better in New York than it is anywhere else, and that's why the pizza's better. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. And then we did our first episode with these grandmas from Italy, and she brought 3 gallons of water from New York in her checked bag.
Wow.
And gosh dang it, if she wasn't right, like, it was very, very good. The other thing is spicy chili or chili sauce is very important with pizza, and I didn't realize that, but you really have to make a good chili oil for your pizza. And then honey on the crust is chef's kiss.
Okay, honey on the crust. Yeah. That's a good nugget there. I like that. You mentioned the trip to the Masters. Not only did you appreciate the no phone life when you were there, just like taking it all in, but you talked about the concession reviews and the world famous sandwiches and everything like that. All right, we talked about how the chicken salad was new on the menu this year. The Georgia peach ice cream sandwich was back. But in the end, what was your favorite concession item you had at Augusta National?
I saw this like on like I don't know if it was like Golf Digest or whatever. They're like, rank your favorite Masters sandwich. And I wrote on it, like, you don't even have the best one on there, which is the barbecue pulled pork.
Yes.
Hands down, I thought was the best one. Then maybe, so Sarah liked the ham and cheese on rye. I liked the club. Then egg salad, then chicken salad. Okay. Yeah. At the bottom was the ice cream sandwich.
Wow. Didn't hit that.
Didn't care for it.
I didn't get it last year, so interesting to know. What type of tacos was it on your first date with Sarah?
I made them. Yeah, I made them, and I think I did. I think I did my skirt steak tacos for the first night, and then I think I made spicy shrimp tacos for the second date.
It's always a good combo. Steak and shrimp. Love that. And then the 19th hole question is what we like to end with. So you get in the clubhouse, you just played 18, and you're sitting down for your favorite meal and drink in the clubhouse. What are you ordering?
Ooh, okay. So at my club.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I get there, on 15, we have this thing called the Shack. And
are you referring to Troubadour or a different place?
What's that?
I know Troubadour has a lot of those nice little snack shacks and things like that.
No.
Okay.
But I do love all those properties.
Yeah.
I'm at Lakeside out in LA.
Got it, yeah.
The chicken salad, 2 scoops, some sriracha. That's some great shit. We have this thing called steak bites, which is a steak on a piece of bread that's cut up. That's fire. I do like the pommes frites, French fries. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a cheeseburger guy.
Yeah.
What about you?
Cheeseburger is like the Tiger Woods answer of this question in the 4-year history
Yeah.
of the podcast. I say cheeseburger 1. The chicken Caesar combo comes up a lot. Chicken Caesar salad, chicken Caesar wrap, just kind of a lighter thing after a long day on a hot course.
I do like the Caesar.
That's what I get a lot. And then what's the cocktail though, or drink? I mean, you got a beer right now, but
Well, at my club, there's a guy named Frankie Fonseca.
that's a great name for a guy at a club.
He's the best. And he has a famous drink called the Fonseca, which is basically a tequila soda with like a half an orange squeezed into it. And it is so good.
Nice.
So anytime you come to LA, if you come to my club, get a Fonseca and you'll be wasted, but you'll be happy.
Nice. Love that. And I guess to wrap, so the question is, I saw Ben out here earlier. You versus Ben, 18 holes, just head to head, no strokes. What does that match look like?
Yeah, I think I got him. It's funny, though. We play a lot.
Do you play straight up now, or do you give each other strokes at all? Or what does it look like when you get on the first tee?
Well, so he beat me today, I think. But today didn't matter. Yeah. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday that matters. Yeah. I think it's pretty close. But I do think that I am a little bit better than Ben.
Okay.
But if Harrison's involved, he's taking all of our money.
All right, Harrison, stay away. Okay. Yeah. Let us live our life.
Yeah. He's going to come next year, he said, and he's going to take all our money.
Wells Adams, thank you so much for hopping on the Course of Life, man. Appreciate you taking the time.
This was fun.
And we're back. Great chat there with Wells Adam. I'm surprised he can remember what he ate on his first date.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's tacos. You know, everyone loves tacos.
I mean, yeah, but I don't remember what I had on my first date with any of the women I dated.
Any of your dozens, if not hundreds, of suitors that you had, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
You know, I was a ladies' man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And my first date was just one beer, ironically, so there was no food involved. Interesting how that works. Okay. But yeah, fancy taco dinner, and obviously led to love for Wells Adams and Sarah Hyland. And Mike, how about Sarah Hyland coming over the top, delivering the Masters tickets to Wells? I mean, what a gift to get from a wife to a husband. Just stuffed that in the face of everyone there. Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if my wife gave me Masters tickets, I don't know what kind of, I would be forever in her debt. Forever.
You'd write that day down on your calendar for the rest of your life. The day that you got the tickets to.
The day we got married, and then the day she gave me Masters tickets.
Exactly.
The 2 best days of my life.
That was awesome hearing about Wells's Augusta experience. If you love Bachelor Nation, there's a lot more where that came from. We have great guests on the Course of Life from all walks of life, from Hollywood to professional sports and beyond. So be sure to subscribe right now. Follow us on IG and Twitter at COL Podcast, Course of Life 1. And we thank you for tuning in as well.
All right, let's get into the second guest of our doubleheader here. And we're going back to just a couple weeks ago, Alex, when you were at the Chevron Championship. You've been traveling all over the place the last few weeks
busy
here.
Man, yeah.
And you talked to a lot of LPGA stars there. And you caught up with one in particular who's the only woman to ever shoot under par in a PGA Tour event.
How about that, Mike? That's an interesting little factoid. We always hear a lot about, women who have competed in PGA Tour events, namely Michelle Wie, Annika Sorenstam, Susie Willey, but people forget Brittany Lincicome not only competed in the 2018 Barbasol Championship, she shot an under par round, finished with a hole out and everything. It was cool to relive that and the amazing memories from a major championship winning career of a golfer that you and I, Mike, have been following seemingly forever on the LPGA. It was great to see her out there, and an awesome chat coming your way with Brittany Lincicome.
We'll get to that in a moment as well. But first, let's talk about our partners at Swing Juice. We talked to you about them the last couple of weeks. They make cool tees, polos.
Yep.
Everything. A sweet logo. They sent me a care package, and the wife approved of everything.
Yeah, and I got a golf and hip hop hoodie that I was wearing out at the course yesterday, and I got multiple compliments on it. You know what I mean? Just that nice swag from Swing Juice. We love what they make. So check out swingjuice.com. Promo code LIFE20 for everything they have to offer in their online store. We love Dakota and the Swing Juice team. So again, check out swingjuice.com. Promo code LIFE20 to save today. All right, next up on the Course of Life podcast, live from the Chevron Championship, two-time major champion, LPGA vet, and mom to Emery and Sophia as well, too. It's Brittany Lincicome joining the Course of Life. How are you, Brittany?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Been a fan of your game for a long time. Been watching you since I was little, and you've been out here for a long time.
I have. Thank you.
Are we still doing Bam Bam? Do you still get Bam Bam every once in a while?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so fitting, I used to be one of the longest hitters. Now, obviously, mama too, getting older. Don't hit it quite as far, but I still try my hardest. I still want to see the ball go 300 yards every time.
That's good. I mean, talk about that revolution with getting longer. I mean, you see it in every tour now. Obviously, you were definitely at the forefront of that, but it takes a lot more to compete distance-wise out here these days.
Absolutely. You don't need distance. Obviously, you see some of our shorter hitters that just, get it up and down, amazing putters. Yeah. Short game is definitely key. But fans, I feel like to see people hit it far. And I always say, even if I hit it, 300 yards in the rough, I still have a wedge in my hand, so it's not that big of a deal. So I feel like distance, when I see young kids, I'm always like, hit it as far as you can, and then we'll work on, getting it back into the fairway. Because you got to learn how to hit it far at a young age and kind of use that growing up. It's hard to learn how to hit it far once you're older.
You know what? I'm the exact testament to that, because I've been playing the game my entire life, but I still can't crack a drive like further than 250 on a good day. So, you're right. There is some early onset learning to the distance thing. And speaking of yourself growing up playing and learning the game, one story that I found very interesting is that you actually did something that I did when I was a little kid that got me hooked into the game, which was you were a sign girl as a kid. Tell me about that volunteer experience when you were little and kind of the significance of what that meant to you.
Actually, Laura Davies gave me that name, sign girl, when I turned pro and I came out here. Laura Davies, John Daly, hit it far. I love watching them play. And I did the standard bearing for them at the JCPenney Classic back in the day at Innisbrook, which was in Tampa, just down the road from my house.
I played that course once.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So I love watching them. So when I came out on tour, I brought the picture, of course, and I showed Laura. And so she just kind of nicknamed me the sign girl, kind of around my rookie year on tour. So it's been a joke that we have all the time, and just a cool experience. We have young kids out here doing it all the time. And I just feel like getting them inside the ropes and seeing what we do firsthand, I feel like that just inspires them to want to be golfers one day.
Yeah. And there was that cool kid factor of like being inside the ropes and seeing the tournament firsthand that I learned really fast. There was a PGA Tour Champions event when I was a little kid in my hometown in Massachusetts. So I got to walk 18 holes with Gary Player, 18 holes with Arnold Palmer, 18 holes with Lee Trevino. And I saw the greats like firsthand, and that absolutely got me hooked. So
absolutely.
Highly endorse.
Yeah, I love that. It's
very cool. So what's it like for you now? Obviously, balancing game and life is very different. You remember that you have that memory of a kid. Now you've got little ones of your own.
Yep.
So how do things take priority in a 52-week year for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Just time management is a little bit different than it used to be. I used to kind of just go out and practice whenever, do have my own schedule. And then we had our first daughter, who's now 3.5, and you kind of just work around her schedule a little bit, take naps when she takes naps.
Their world. It's not yours anymore.
Totally. We play a lot of toys. And now with 2, obviously, it makes it just a little bit harder. We have my parents travel with me every week, which is great when I have the girls out. And we have a great daycare on tour with Smuckers, and they provide daycare for us. So that's fantastic. You never have to worry.
That's awesome.
It's the same ladies every week, and you never have to worry about them. So I know they're safe when I'm playing. And so it's just a little bit different. Time management meant just going out and getting my practice done early and then spending time with the girls in the afternoon.
Very cool. One career highlight that I want to get to that should never ever be overlooked, and I want to mention in every interview you do for the rest of your life, is that you did compete in a PGA Tour event in 2018. The second woman ever to break par in a PGA Tour event as well too. Very cool. I'm curious, that 2018 Barbasol event that you competed in. What did you learn from that experience? And still, like to this day, kind of looking back on that week, what did that mean to you?
It's just learning how to control my nerves. I actually talked to Annika Sorenstam leading up to it because she did it. And just learning I was so nervous, just learning how to like calm myself down and just to, the first couple holes, I was so nervous. There's so many people watching, so many fans, so much media attention. So learning how to control my nerves that week and then just taking that into, regular tournaments, next major that I had to play, just kind of learning how to just handle all those emotions. It was pretty crazy, but it was super great. I was so worried that either fans or the PGA guys weren't going to be very accepting. And they were actually everyone was welcoming and everybody was very cool. And it was an awesome experience and glad I did it. That's cool. What was that like phone call or the moment you found out that was going to happen? Like how did that come to fruition? Yes. What was the steps before there? So my agent and the Barbasol sponsor are great friends. And he said, hey, I have this spot, I would love to give it to Brittany. So of course my agent called me and we talked about it for a very long time of pros and cons of also, how that would look. Pranked too. This is a prank. I know, right? I like I said, I saw Annika Sorenstam do it. I've seen Michelle Wee do it. I thought it would be really cool to try someday. The golf course was great. It was going to set up really well for my game, but we got like 4 inches of rain leading up to it. So the golf course played really long, which was unfortunate. But, shot even par. I holed out on the last hole, which was cool. The par 5, which was cool. So a lot of highlights. Very cool. As we get into what life looks like now in 2023, when you navigate newish courses like this, first off, how much experience do you have with the course? Have you played it many times? I've only played 9, and the 9 is spectacular. The driving range and the chipping green, and I hate practicing. Everyone knows that about me. But if I had this practice facility, I probably would do it a lot because it's just so beautiful. It is expansive. So when you first get out to a new course like this, are you just like eagle-eyed, like looking for everything? Are you looking at pin positions, ball placement? What are the keys to learn the golf course the fastest? Yeah, so definitely played 9 holes yesterday. We're going to play 9 holes today and then 9 holes tomorrow. 18 holes is just too many. I'd rather break it up into days and take more time on those 9s. So definitely, picking targets off the tee is very important, but even more important is just kind of around the green. There's a lot of false fronts, a lot of balls where they can run off. A lot of tight chipping areas. So we've done a lot of chipping and a lot of putting kind of on the golf course, just to kind of get a feel for how things are, getting a feel for how the bunkers are going to play. But just definitely, missing it in the right spot. Don't miss it in the low spot. Yes. It's a game of misses. Everybody knows that. So it's just kind of where do you want to miss it? And that's kind of what we try to figure out. Well said, indeed. So I'm curious in terms of prep for an event like this. Will you hit putts to like every pin position that you're going to see, and what's that scouting like? How much is that you versus your caddy and the rest of your team, leaning in a moment like this? Yeah, definitely lean on the caddy for that because obviously we've never been here before, so we don't know. Other golf courses in years past, we know exactly where they're going to put the days. Might be different each day, but it's definitely in the same vicinity. So we have little discs, and my caddy will throw them down in various places, probably 5 or 6 different spots, and just kind of hit a few putts to those. I like to write in the yardage book which way they broke. Especially if they're a little bit tricky, on a fall line, just to kind of write it down. So maybe if I have that putt in the tournament, I'll already know and I can be confident with that putt. So definitely doing a bunch of that and just kind of learning the speed too. The speed is a very good one. Yeah, no, putting all over every part of the green. Very important for learning courses. Got to get good on the greens first and foremost. Brittany Lincicome joining us here on the Course of Life. Let's get to some fun conversation now. I love following on Instagram. I think it's at Brittany1Golf. And you were very excited this week about something notable. Is this the nicest courtesy car that you've ever gotten? I don't know. It might be. It's got to be up there, right? It's definitely, I think it is the nicest by far. So when I checked in originally, I have my mom and dad, both daughters. So I have 2 car seats, stroller, golf bag, lots of bags. Wow. I got an Expedition, like a bigger vehicle. And then today they were like, hey, we have the Bentley reserved for you, past champion. Why don't you just take it and drive it for a few days? And I was like, well, of course I'll do that. So it's this beautiful blue and I'm terrified to drive it. I've let it, I'll be honest, I let it out a couple times already just to see, what it does. But when I go around another car, or if I'm going around a curb, I definitely take it a little bit wider than normal just to make sure I don't put any scratches on it. Nope, that's smart too. Lydia Ko just said in her press conference she's 10-2 the whole time on the Bentley, even the Bentley. That's great. I love it.
One other thing, unfortunately, different level of transportation. We both got bit by some airlines recently.
Yeah.
You had an issue with Delta. I was part of the infamous Southwest Airlines Christmas time meltdown that kept me at my wife's family for an extra week.
Oh, no.
So there was a lot of that craziness going on. I got a great refund out of that. But fortunately, was that your worst travel experience with Delta, or what sort of nightmares you had recently?
Yeah, it just made it that much worse because I had my now 8-month-old daughter with me.
Yeah.
So if it's by myself, like, it's not a big deal. It is what it is, no big deal. But having her with me made it a little bit more challenging. So they canceled my flight twice, and I wasn't going to risk, sticking around with Delta for one more day. So I actually ended up booking a Southwest flight on my own and flying home that way, just because I was terrified. But I got a lot of miles. I got refunded. I got some credits. They did what they needed to do to kind of make it right, which was great. But anytime you're traveling with a child, it's obviously you just want to get from point A to point B in the quickest amount of time, and that was going to be a red eye. So I was hoping she was going to sleep the whole way. So my Southwest flight, I had 2 stops going home, which is not ideal, but we made it and it all worked out.
Let's get into that quickly. The traveling with kids. A buddy of mine just had his 3rd kid. A lot of my friends have kids and they're traveling with them constantly. You travel a lot with your kids, I can tell. What are the secrets? I know it's really hard to pick like the exact right time of day to fit it in, maybe with the nap or maybe before. So what are your tips for traveling with kids?
I feel like both my girls are great sleepers on the plane. I mean, obviously, super lucky. So if you can plan it around a nap, that's obviously ideal, but you never know what the airline's going to do. So definitely don't let them sleep before you get on the plane. That's a no-no. Have lots of snacks. The 3-year-old loves to have snacks on the airplane. We have an iPad, obviously, for some movie time, but even both girls, from Tampa to Houston coming up here, they slept the whole way. So I'm pretty lucky, but I imagine some parents are not as lucky. So
good sleepers. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into our random rule question here.
Oh.
This is not a quiz on how well you know the rules. This is a funny question about a random rule. So just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right, let's see.
Oh, no.
Committee suspend play. All right, so these rules are about when play gets suspended. Do you have any random story about like when play gets suspended, or like has the horn blown in your swing, or like what's a weird story?
Actually, no, they're pretty good at judging, where players are on the golf course. So I've never had one in my backswing, thank goodness, but they definitely come at the worst times when you have a 5-footer to save par and you have momentum going your way and you just want to tap it in. But obviously then you have a hour or 2 rain delay, and then you got to go back out and try to make that 5-footer. That's a little bit tricky, but obviously the rules officials can't handle the storms, and you just got to do what it does. But
have you had like the rushing in to get 17 done to finish your round late at night? Have you done that a lot?
Late at night, for sure. Darkness. I will play if it is pitch black. I am not coming back to play one more hole, and everybody knows that. Like, Britt will be on 18 tee box while you're putting out on 17. Once the flag goes in, I'm going, just to try to get it in so we don't have to come back at 7 a.m. the next morning.
Amen to that. All right, let's get into some food questions. Start with the 19th hole question, which we ask all of our guests here. We've been asking it for years. The question is vital. It's when you finish a great round, you birdie 18, and you get into the clubhouse. This is a really nice one here.
This is.
What's your go-to order, your favorite meal and drink to order at the 19th hole?
Oh, goodness. If it's during the day, lunch is probably a burger. I feel like nice country clubs have really good burgers, whether it's a bacon cheeseburger or some type of like Gouda cheese or some fancy cheese, on a burger with some French fries is definitely. And probably these days, the high noon. I love the high noon.
Nice. Okay, good. Getting the seltzer vibe. I like that. Good stuff. All right, last but not least, we have a little Texas hospitality for you here. Unfortunately, you're a little later in the day, so you didn't get the first pick of snacks. But these are snacks from the legendary Buc-ee's. I don't know if you've ever been. But it's a gigantic gas station, rest stop, market, all in one. So unfortunately, some top picks have already been taken off the board early in the day.
Just randomly, my husband and I took a trip to the mountains and we stopped at one, and it was like a 30-minute process because I went in just to use the restroom quickly with the 3-year-old,
just do that.
And then went out and had told my husband how wonderful it was. So we all went in, and it was a huge thing.
And even the bathrooms are elegant,
They
too.
are.
Like my mom walked out. I took my mom there for the first time. She was fascinated by Buc-ee's. She said, those are the nicest public bathrooms I've been in years, Alexander. Amazing. Wow. So Buc-ee's is a lot of fun. Then we got the jalapeno cheese puffs. We got the nutty bites and the chocolate meringues left. Which one do you want to make yours for the week here?
I think I'm going to go nutty bites.
Yeah.
That seems right up my alley.
Too.
Yeah.
Cinnamon pecan, a little spice to it.
Yeah.
It's got the Texas zest.
That's right up my alley.
So enjoy that. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you so much for hopping on the course of life, and look forward to following the rest of the career.
Thanks for having me.
And we're back. Great chat there with Brittany.
Awesome.
Family circus, traveling with her on the road. That's pretty. I mean, I think I would have my family
kids
probably
on the
traveling
road,
with me
Mike.
too.
Multiple kids on the road, planes, rental cars, hotels, and she's playing professional golf, by the way, as well too.
Yeah, and doing pretty well at it.
Yeah.
So,
really cool conversation with Brittany there. And again, you and I have been watching her for decades, so it was awesome to finally connect the dots and have a golfer on that we really been watching for a long time out there.
And what do we got coming up on Instagram with her later this week?
Yes, and after the interview, I did a fun little this or that. You've noticed that in some of my recent conversations. I've been doing some this or that's to wrap up, and I asked some funny rapid fire questions to Brittany. So again, COL Podcast on Instagram. That's the only place you're going to see that for this or that with Brittany Lincicome.
All right, let's talk a little NFL draft. That happened this past week. We, of course, had a preview about it just a couple of weeks prior as well. And what do you think, Alex? How are you feeling about your Patriots after the draft?
So it was interesting. You can take a look at the Giants board while I, lay into Bill Belichick. What happened was, he went hard in the trenches. He realized that we were just getting absolutely beat up in the trenches the last couple of years. So he laid it on thick with linemen and interior pass rushers and offensive linemen here. Just literally no skill players at all for the first, I believe, 4 or 5 rounds. And then, of course, he reeled me back in with some sexy wide receivers that were underplayed and undervalued that had been great a couple of years ago. So overall, I'm giving him like a C+. It was a frustrating start to the draft. We got a good cover corner in round 1, but we'll see what the late round picks do. He always loves to feast on making these 6 or 7 rounders into amazing things. So we'll see if he can do it again for a team that certainly needs it this year.
My Giants, meanwhile, it sounds like they had a good draft. I don't know anything about anything other than when the Giants won the Super Bowl over the Patriots. You remember that twice?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. But it sounds like it might be an A for them. Sounds like they might have done pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing that we're going to see now is, do these players that the Giants bring in through free agency in the draft this season help make Daniel Jones, 10, 15, 20% better? Him at his peak, he's a serviceable NFL quarterback. He got the bag because he got the team to the playoffs at the opportune moment. Him with Brian Daboll and some new chemistry on offense. Could be some interesting things to come for the Giants. More optimism heading into this upcoming season than we've been able to express in recent years for you. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot to build on after last year. So, Super Bowl win or bust. That's what I got to say now.
Love it.
Let's #AlwaysEndWithFood.
Yes, that's right. @AlwaysEndWithFood for our obnoxious food content as well, too. And there's going to be a lot coming this week, Mike. I had a great time at the resort here, but I've got a Vegas week upcoming. So that always leads to some good food content. And this is great, Mike, because as you know, I've been to Vegas a couple times. It's always been for kind of pretty, hit and run trips. Last time's to see a Patriots game. But this time's unique because I've got a 72-hour trip there, but I don't have quite too much of an itinerary. So I did a lot of research with some YouTube videos, and I found all the great food spots, the cheap happy hours, the unique deals on every snack you can imagine. So it's going to be very Vegas food filled. And I'd say it's maybe my most mature itinerary ever. It's got nothing past 10 or 11 p.m. It's got no nightclubs in sight at all. How about that?
I mean, welcome to your mid-30s.
I know.
Or should I say, welcome to the doorstep of your late 30s.
Yeah. Oh God. Jeez. Yeah. Either way, it doesn't sound great. But the highlight meal, which you'll appreciate, is going to be Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. Right on the strip there next to Caesar's Palace. Mike, and you can check out the menu in your spare time. For the prices that we're about to pay this week to eat at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, I'm going to expect it to be served by Gordon Ramsay himself.
I mean, this better be on a gold platter with studded with diamonds that you get to take home with you, because I know it's expensive. You're talking, at least $100 a plate here?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be in that range. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some expensive meals. I don't think I've ever paid over $50 for a plate of food, though.
Yeah, it's going to be probably one of my more expensive meals ever, but it will be a treat. When in Vegas, you're on the strip, so it'll be a fun time. Lots of food content ahead. Yeah, and hopefully I can get lucky either here in New Mexico or in Vegas on the slots or at the roulette table, because I'm going to certainly need it for that dinner.
Yep.
All right, that's a wrap. That's Always Ended with Food, and that's another Course of Life podcast. As a reminder, check out the Live Take app, check out Desert Fox, and check out Swing Juice, our friends of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe right now, and we will see you next week.